When is the last time you took a walk in the woods or witnessed a beautiful sunrise? When's the last time you watched a bird in flight? When is the last time your family watched the clouds floating across the sky and allowed your minds time to imagine? Today, in our overcommitted, ultra-stressed society, we often race from one activity to another, promising that we'll catch up when we see one another, lamenting over how much we still have to do, and trying to squeeze in just one more thing. Have we forgotten the benefits that can be derived from experiencing the peace and tranquility of the natural environment? These pleasures seem to be playing a smaller role in our lives, and in some important ways, we've hardly noticed. Let's take a moment to think back to how it used to be.
My most vivid childhood memories are of summers spent in the Adirondack Mountains. The majesty of the mountains, being in the water, fishing, canoeing, boating, jumping into the cold water, floating.
Every summer when I was a kid, I just couldn't wait for our entire family to get on our little boat and just motor out to our little island out in Long Island Sound and just have a whole day to ourselves.
When I was probably 12 or 13 years old, I joined a Boy Scout troop in my hometown of Del Mar, New York. And we went on backpacking and camping trips every weekend, each month, at least one weekend each month.
What way is that?
Well, I mean, going out after dinner and being in the garden was as natural as brushing your teeth.
With your grandparents?
Yeah, it was part of the rhythm of the day. I can still remember pulling those first carrots out of the ground. And
Really?
This was like amazing.
The best days of my life were playing outside, and I just had to have that for my children.
Being in nature, loved it. Loved it.
Things look different today. People watch an average of 34 hours of television each week, plus another 8 hours of video. We're constantly connected to cell phones and computers. According to a 2010 Kaiser Family Foundation survey, kids are consuming some form of media a whopping 7.5 hours every day between cell phones, video games, computers, and television. As a result, we all spend a lot less time moving about and a lot less time outside. Jobs and classrooms are focused on seat time and computer work. We go from cars and buses and trains into buildings. Our exposure to natural sunlight and leafy spaces is profoundly diminished.
So there's really great value in preserving and caring for the open spaces that we have, but we should also expand the opportunities for everyone to experience being outside in nature as much as possible. Whether it's a park, a playground, or a trail, everyone deserves the opportunity to be outside.
It was a reunion where I work, and a lot of people came back and talked to me about what it was like to grow up in the late 50s or in early 60s. And they said to me, they didn't know what their mothers did, first of all, because they just house hopped. There was more freedom back then with the safety in a small town. And they would hitch up the horses and literally ride 5 miles up and around in the woods and come down.
Today, when kids are outdoors, they're often on artificially constructed play environments made of plastic, metal, artificial turf, and concrete. Games are highly organized and supervised by adults. Even so-called playtime is spent following carefully regulated schedules or safely within the confines of a child's own living space. So are we missing some important benefits of hours spent in unstructured, unhurried time outdoors? There's a growing body of evidence that supports the advantages of time spent in nature. Experiences with nature have been positively linked with creativity and a sense of wonder. The intense feelings of amazement, of awe and wonder are important motivators for lifelong learning. Research consistently confirms that regular physical activity fuels the brain, increasing powers of concentration and self-discipline.
Nice. And can you put some dirt on top? There's some. There's some. And then give it a little gentle pat. Yeah, there you go.
Wow! Look at those carrots.
Huge!
They are big.
It's carnival carrots, so they're all different colors.
People who interact with natural environments demonstrate more advanced fitness levels, including motor coordination, balance, agility, and endurance. It's been proven that patients in hospitals heal more quickly when they're able to look out at natural settings as opposed to viewing a parking lot or ventilation system. Children who play outside and are exposed to animals and plants and the earth beneath them develop better immune systems and are sick less often.
10 times better, and we're not doing anything differently. We're not eating differently, but we're outside in the light for, at least 5 hours a day. We're just outside. And that makes all the difference, to just be in this bright sunlight. It's obviously how it was meant to be.
Cultivating relationships with living things in the natural world helps children develop empathy. Empathy is an extremely important social skill as children mature into adulthood. It is the ability to see and value what another individual is feeling, and is what builds friendships and close social communities. It's what results in emotional health, resilience, positive coping techniques, and ultimately, well-adjusted adults.
When you're outside, you do feel part of it. You're one of many living creatures. Actually, you're not that important. Neither are some of the details of your life. And there's a great relief, And also, you're just as shiny as the stars. You're as beautiful as that bird that just flew by and as capable. And it's wonderful to feel in a way that is sort of humble and that wonderful at the same time.
Time spent in nature can help individuals refocus. Recent studies show that people with the symptoms of ADHD are better able to concentrate after contact with nature. A simple walk outdoors can cause a significant reduction in distractibility for adults and children.
By being outside and doing concrete activities, Atticus is able to actually gauge his progress. He'll say to me, "Dad, remember when I couldn't do such and such and now I can?" Or yes. Or he can feel small increments of achievement, without waiting for a long period of time.
Research looking at real-time data from the brains of people who are outdoors moving through parks and green spaces shows the importance of taking a break from our jobs and our classwork. A 2013 study reported by Gretchen Reynolds in the New York Times showed that people who live near trees and parks have lower stress hormones and cortisol levels. They're more calm and meditative. They have less brain fatigue.
The play, like we've mentioned, being unstructured is a huge part of being able to have some natural calm, know what it feels like, know how to get back to it.
In addition, children who have opportunities just to look out a window with a view of nature score higher on tests of concentration and self-discipline. There is a growing movement in Europe, especially Scandinavia, to reconnect with nature in order to counter the effects of an increasingly urbanized, electronic-based, and risk-averse world. Forest schools are gaining in popularity throughout Europe, and over 700 of these are now in Germany. Their emphasis is time spent outdoors, especially in woodland settings and in all weather.
Sophisticated activity, and yet
Right.
I'm realizing that for Atticus, one of his better days is when he can venture 100 yards south and play in these mounds of topsoil, and at the end of an hour he'll tell me, "Oh, Dad, this was one of those great days. I had my best day ever." And so I'm even unaware of the value of simplicity. In the activity.
That's a great way to put it.
Our increasingly sedentary and solitary indoor lifestyles asks us to think about our lost connection with nature. Research shows that we have so much to gain by immersing ourselves in the beauty of the natural world. Why not do what we can to promote experiences interacting with nature?
Breathing and relaxing and
I would
that. They don't know how to do that because they haven't experienced it.
Yes.
We need to value and nurture our open spaces and continue to develop an appreciation of their value to all of us. We need to pass on the legacy of the beauty of nature to our children and our grandchildren so that they can become future stewards of the environment. Only then will we be able to experience the wonder and awe that time spent in nature can create for all of us.
Driving down your street, see all the places and faraway faces you know. As the days go by, so undecided, your heart is divided in two. Till you find your place in this world, your feelings of doubt make you scream and shout. Find your place in this world. Till you find your place in this world. Still they're watching you. So many questions, but you have no answers to give. Searching for the truth, taking a chance and finding a reason to live.
It's really about finding a balance. At Anglefly Preserve, we're committed to perpetuating the natural environment, the native plants and species that are here, as well as the historic features. Visit this or one of the other parks near your community. Experience the forest through the trees.